Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm Tommy McKenzie with Realty One Group Music City here in Nashville, Tennessee. And today we're going to do something a little bit different. I have a special guest, Cynthia Beard. She is a longtime broker and agent in the Middle Tennessee market, and she's currently at RE/MAX Fine Homes. And today we're going to have a conversation between agents about the things that we have seen in this market. So sit back, pop some popcorn, and enjoy the ride. So I have been waiting a long time to do this. This is Cynthia Beard. She is the former broker of the Spring Hill office of RE/MAX Fine Homes. And she and I became friends about 7 or 8 years ago whenever I was at RE/MAX Fine Homes. So Cynthia, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I have been in Williamson County since 64. I came to work for a law office at that point in time, and when the senior partner retired, he sold me his interest in the title company, and from there I ran a couple of title companies, the last one being Mid-State Title. And then I was recruited by John Mayer to join his company. He was fairly new at that point in time. He was the second builder in Williamson County.
Now let me just stop you there. If you don't know who John Mayer is, if you go to Spring Hill, he almost built the whole city, it feels like.
Yes, he did.
Just hundreds of homes.
Yes.
And you probably sold most of those homes.
Yes. Whenever we started, he was the second builder starting down there. And then I sold over 750 of his homes during the 18 years that I worked for him. And it was one of the best things that I did. I learned a lot. It was always a challenge. And then when I had to slow down some, I became the broker at RE/MAX Fine Homes in Spring Hill.
And then it was around that time that you and I met.
Yes.
That was about 7 or 8 years ago. It's been a little while.
Right.
Now, do you remember where we met?
Now that was an experience.
Do you remember where we met?
I do. Terry Rutherford was having a get-together at her farm.
Right.
And it had rained. My hair had got sopping wet. They put a big fan behind me to try to dry me off.
Now you have to picture this. I come into this up on this farm. I'm only my first or second year with the company. And I meet this lady that's got a big RE/MAX balloon painted on the side of her face. Her hair is going every which way. It's probably 6 ways to Sunday by now. And she,
it was horrible.
And she immediately goes, "Hey, let's take a selfie." So
that was the point in time, if I remember correctly, when everybody had started taking selfies. You know, they were the newest thing. Everybody was wild about taking selfies, and he was walking around, and I had not met him yet, and I said, "Hey, who are you?" And we talked for a while, and then I said, "Let's take a selfie." And then I got upset because he was going to, or I pretended to be upset, because he was going to a...
She was about to threaten me.
You were going to
It was
Justin Timberlake concert that was in Franklin. And I said, "Oh, have you got another ticket? I want to go."
That was so funny.
But...
So you have done a lot of new construction and home sales with new construction. You've been very involved in that process.
Yes.
Do you have any tips for buyers that are going into that kind of process, that are looking to buy a new home?
I think the main thing is to have an idea of what you want, but to be flexible also. I think it's important that you learn everything you can about the builders, because different builders have different techniques, different things that they do in their homes. I would definitely look at their products before I set up any serious appointments, to talk with their representative on site. I think that a lot of times buyers think that all the builders build the same thing, that you can walk into a builder's office and that something that you want or you saw somewhere you're going to be able to get. And there are different steps that they take, and sometimes different ways that they build certain things.
Well, and we need to make sure we define this a little bit. There's a difference between a spec builder and a custom builder.
Yes.
So if you're going into most neighborhoods
Yes.
that are big subdivisions, they're
Yes.
going to be building mostly spec homes, or you're going to choose from a selection of plans they have already pre-designed.
Right.
And your customization ability on that is going to be a lot more limited than if you're building with a custom builder building an actual custom home.
It is. And it sometimes creates situations that you, as the buyer, you don't completely understand why you have seen this fantastic item in a magazine somewhere and why they cannot put it in the home that you want to build. So it's very important to know what type of builder you're dealing with.
Now, I want to get back to something real quick. What year did you get your license? Do you remember?
Okay, wait a minute. It was in...
Now, I heard this. I heard that she sold Plymouth Rock to the to the Pilgrims whenever they came over. So,
No!
But
No!
No.
Okay. Let's see. I was actually 59 years old when John Mayer recruited me.
That's awesome.
That would have to have been, it was, I think, 94.
Awesome.
When I left the title company and started a new career, and I was absolutely scared to death.
And
It was the best thing I ever did.
I was about to say, I affectionately call you the Queen of Spring Hill because you have sold so many of those properties there.
Well, there are several agents that have also, done that, but it was very unusual for me because I did have the title company experience. I did have some of the legal experience, so I did know a lot of the agents at that time, which I think was an advantage for me. But I knew absolutely nothing about building.
So having gotten your license in 94,
Yes.
you have been through quite a few changes in the market. We have been through buyers markets, we've been through sellers
Exactly.
markets, and we've seen neutral markets.
Right.
With the current market we're going into, it kind of feels like we're shifting more toward that buyer's market than we have, at least more so than the last couple of years.
I think we're going to, the thing is, you want to tend to get upset and excited and worried when something like this happens, and I've been through this. This is the third type of situation like this, and it works itself out. I mean, as it sort of weeds out the people who are not sometimes as serious about being in the business.
Right.
And
Well, it makes people realize this is not the easiest job in the world. You have,
Okay, if you think it's the easiest job in the world, you need to do something else. I'm
You-
sorry.
You have to work with multiple personalities. You have to work with multiple situations that can be very distressing to some buyers and sellers alike.
That's true. That's true. It's you have to have the patience of Job, first of all, and
Yes.
then you have to listen to the people that you're working with. You have to care about the people that you're working with. And that is so important if you're going to be successful long term. You have to be available. You have to be flexible on time. I admire the agents that are able to work their schedule a certain way. I never was able to do that.
You and me both.
You know, I was used to the calls at midnight. Sometimes, well, when I was the
That's why
broker.
there's this nifty little feature now to put "Do Not Disturb" on your phone, and so if they call at that time, they go automatically to voicemail, and you can get them at 9 o'clock in the morning. Technology is very
okay,
nice.
you know my personality.
I know your personality.
Okay, so and to me, I've got to answer that phone.
I know that.
I just got to answer that. phone.
Cynthia, speaking of that, I had a client one time that would call me at 2 o'clock in the morning wanting to schedule to go look at a house. They would call me up, and I'm like, we can't do anything at 2 o'clock in the morning. Send me the home or send me a text, and I'll get it first thing in the morning, and I will schedule that home tour as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So, well, speaking of that, tell me some of the funniest stories, or do you have any funny situations you've ran into dealing with either sellers or buyers in your years of experience?
Oh yes. Oh my goodness. So many of them. So many of them. Let's see. The most difficult buyer that I had, but I really did understand this guy and really wound up liking him, but he was one of the rudest persons I've ever dealt with. And so he would show up at the sales office nearly on a daily basis. He had a position, he could do that. And every time he came in and acted like he was going to void the contract. And finally, I realized that he wasn't going to do that. He just wanted to try to create a situation or see how much I would take or if I would argue with him. And so once I realized what he was doing, I would start nearly every day and talk him through the situation because it was at a point in time where we were going through a downturn like we are now, and he was paying cash for that house. And, you know, I was arguing with the powers that be, hey, don't give him his money back. I promise you personally, this house will close. And so he was the most difficult, but I think that I learned so much from him about the different personalities and how to deal with him. And boy, did I ever learn patience with this guy. I really learned patience.
Patience is not a virtue that I really enjoy having or practicing, let's put it that way.
You don't have to tell me that. I know that.
I know you know that.
But anyway, it's one of the hardest things I think it is for us not to try to put ourselves in the position of the person that we're dealing with. And I think whenever you do that, then it honestly makes you a better person, and it makes you understand people better. And depending upon the type of job you're doing, I think almost any profession that you would be in, that would be helpful.
One of the best stories I have. I haven't done this as long as you. I've only been in this for 8 years. I was representing a buyer, and we were in East Nashville looking at properties. Now, as agents, we tell homeowners, whenever you fix your house up to sell, or whenever you're getting ready to put your house in the market, make sure you kind of depersonalize that property, put personal things away, take pictures down.
Yeah.
You want to just make sure people can picture themselves in that property.
Right.
So my buyer and I get to this property, Cynthia, and we're walking around, and so far everything is going smooth. Everything's looking really good. We walk through the backyard. Everything's nice. The kitchen. And I see a few little things that cause us a little question about maybe some issues with the house itself. But overall, it's a great buy in a great neighborhood. Well, we walk into the master bedroom, or as we say now, the primary bedroom. So we walk into this primary bedroom, and the first thing I see is this huge picture of a husband and wife that's in their sexiest lingerie. It's a boudoir picture. My buyer is a little bit embarrassed seeing this photo, and I'm sitting here seeing a photo that I cannot get unseared from the back of my eyelids. I'm like, okay, I did not need to see that. So, needless to say, it was off-putting enough for my buyer that he was like, okay, I'm done with the house.
Oh, really?
Because
he was finished looking.
He was finished with the house. He's like, I can't do it. I can't walk through the house without seeing that now. So when we tell you to depersonalize the house. It's going to make buyers more comfortable walking through your home and picturing themselves there and not you there. They want to picture themselves in the house.
Exactly, and you need all that you can get and all the help that you can get to get that house sold. That's
it.
Yeah.
And it's something simple like that. I mean, you may be proud of it, but people come in to view your house and everything. That's not what they're there for. They didn't want a free show on the Oh
my goodness.
Cynthia, we've got a million stories, I'm sure.
Oh, we do.
And you and I have had quite a few little adventures. So.
Yes, we have. That actually started when we met. That then every time we would go to a meeting, a REMAX meeting, we'd wind up taking up a selfie, whether we were at a restaurant celebrating awards or whether we were having an educational meeting.
Now let's be honest about these selfies too. So we would take these selfies, and then Cynthia would send me the selfie, and she'd say, "Okay, now can you get Photoshop and touch this up?" And I'm like, "Well, gladly," because my hair was horrible in that photo too. So.
I did do that. I like.
We had fun.
Everybody will tell you that if they take a picture with me, that I'm going to post the one that I look the best in.
I have learned that it doesn't matter what the other person looks like. It's what Queen Cynthia looks like.
It's what I look like. It's what I look like. There's got to be some kind of hang-up that I do that, but anyway.
I tell you, Cynthia, 8 years, well, my license will be renewed for the 4th time, so it'll be 8 years this June. And I will forever be grateful to Terry Rutherford for getting me into this business at REMAX Fine Homes. I miss her. I know you do.
I miss her so bad. I really reconnected with her back, let's see, well, about 8 years ago when for some health reasons, my doctor was all over me about not working 24/7. Imagine that, a real estate agent not working 24/7.
He was probably dealing with your stubbornness is what he was dealing with.
Well, that was it. But it just so happened, and this is an interesting story, that she had gotten a phone call and she was out of town, but she was representing actually the first group that came in here as an investor, and she was calling to ask me, if we had some rental houses to sell, and we did. And we reconnected, and at that point in time, she needed a broker, and I'd had my broker's license since 2 years after I became a realtor. I went ahead and got my broker's license.
Overachiever. Overachiever.
No, not really. No, never. But I just wanted to get it out of the way while I thought my brain was okay to be able to learn. And
I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Please don't. But anyway, but that's when I decided, yes, I would be the managing broker, and it was quite an experience, and it was something that I definitely am glad that I did up until this past year. And again, I needed to slow down a little bit more. So I'm doing something I thought I would never do, and that is I've done some commercial also now. And the jury is still out on commercial property.
The jury's still out on whether you like doing commercial property.
You're right. Yeah, whether I like doing it or not, I certainly do like the paydays, but
that is definitely a different animal than residential.
It is.
So.
It definitely is. But I think one of the things that's important to all of us that keeps us active and keeps us going is the fact that we continue to learn.
Yes.
And I am continuing to learn, and even though I joke about it, it's turning out to be something that I do get a rush out of, and that's what I like when I do get a rush. So, and I'm still, of course, doing residential and land sales, but it's very interesting. I like to keep on learning, and I think it keeps us where we need to be as we get older.
I've told you my story before, how I got into real estate. Terry Rutherford represented my dad when he bought his first property here in the Nashville area.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't long after that my mom moved to Nashville, and Terry was our agent for that. Well, by that time, she was telling me, Tommy, go get your license. You know this business and you know this city. We would work well together. Go get your license.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was still touring full time, and I didn't feel like I had time to be able to devote to being a real estate agent or to be a good real estate agent. I just didn't feel like I had time.
Right.
Well, by the time my mom decided to sell that house and buy her second house here, Terry didn't give me any excuse at that point. She's like, you do have no excuse. You know how this market works. Now go get your license and come work with me. And so that led to me being at RE/MAX Fine Homes for a little over 7 years. And yes, I recently moved to a new office over here at Realty One Group, Music City, Nashville. And I'm thankful that Monty Moore, my broker, allows me opportunities to do stuff like this, have conversations with agents, whether we're in the same office or not. And that's something that's missing a lot of times that people don't realize. There's got to be cooperation. And he encourages that. I encourage that. And so this is a really good thing to be able to cooperate, tell our stories, show people just a little insight of what's going on in this industry, what this business is like.
Right. There is no reason to not do this.
Right.
There's no reason not to do that. If you stop and think about it, we need other agents in order for us to do our job like we need to. It does nothing but benefit all of us.
Right.
When there is cooperation.
We are working toward a mutual goal, even if we represent
Exactly.
separate sides of the transaction.
Exactly. I never have really understood that. There have been situations in the past. I have never argued over, splitting a commission
Right.
with someone or anything like that. I just think the more that we cooperate and share ideas and share stories and ways that we have figured out are the best ways to make deals come together, it does nothing but benefit all of us, and it benefits all of the industry.
What's the old saying? Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power, trust me.
Yes.
You're looking at someone who has nothing but a high school education.
And you have done well.
I learned on a 200-acre farm.
That's
what
amazing.
I learned. And, it's just very important. Everybody has, some special skill. You just work on that skill, and you just always treat everybody like you want to be treated, and you're going to do fine.
That's always very helpful.
Always very helpful.
I mean, if you...
I don't know if there's any hope for you, but
Well,
I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
Well, we have a long history of giving each other a very hard time.
Yes, we do. Yes,
It keeps you humble.
But he does a good job, on taking care of those pictures, editing those pictures. So
Oh, so you'll keep me around for a little while?
I'll keep you around a little while longer.
So as long as I'm good at Photoshop, we're good to be friends?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll be friends.
So. Oh, I was trying to think if there's anything else that we can kind of share. I know you were still doing some residential in the Spring Hill area, and you're going to be doing more, hopefully, here in the future.
Yeah, it's
Now that you're no longer having to manage
longer
a bunch of agents underneath you, and you're having to police and make sure that they're not
right.
screwing things up.
Oh, that is so true. That was very interesting. So I've basically done, I guess, just about everything that has to do with real estate, from the very beginning. And I think it's definitely well worth it. Something else I have to say, and I say this all the time whenever anybody will listen, but now I don't care what new thing they come out with, and I do try to embrace technology. Okay, that's
Even if you're having to call me to come help you figure it out. That's
yes, even when I have to have help with it. I do embrace technology, and I embrace new things, and I do things like try pink hair and all.
I've seen it.
And all of this stuff because I just enjoy life. I just enjoy stuff like that, doing different things. However, I always say that I don't think in the real estate business anything will ever take the place of that personal contact.
Well, it's
I mean,
definitely it's a relationship business.
It is a relationship business. There are things that happen when you're representing a client, I'm just amazed that, there are still so many things that I need, to learn, and things that happen in situations that I learned to deal with. And, as long as I've been doing it, and there are a lot of agents that have done it longer than I have, they are still learning. And I just think it will always be a relationship business.
Well, when you're working with somebody through what's probably one of the top 5 transactions of their life,
Exactly.
there's a lot of emotion tied up into that kind of transaction.
You're putting a lot of money into that.
It's a lot of money, and money represents time. Money represents your personal, it's a personal investment. It represents part of your life.
Exactly.
And whenever you're looking at such big chunks,
Right.
right. If somebody's spending $500,000 on a house, they want to know the person that they have representing them and is working with them has their best interest in mind.
There's not anything, I think, with anything that you're doing, any business that you're in, that replaces trust.
Right.
If someone has a little doubt, it's not always going to be an ideal situation. And when somebody trusts you, then you definitely have a good relationship. They know that you are working for them, and that you're going to help them make the best decisions for them and for their family, and that's very important.
And that comes back to what you said earlier about treating others the way you want to be treated.
Oh, yeah.
Because once trust is lost, it's much harder to get it back.
Oh, it's almost impossible.
Right.
I mean, most of the friends that I have, I've had 30, 40 years. But when anything that happens that they betray your trust, or you feel like they have, I mean, you're throwing all that you have managed to do in the way of friendship just out the door. The
Right.
trust is the main thing in anything we do.
It really is.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to think, is there anything else that you would like to try to cover in this video, or that you...
You want me to cover like 30 or 40 years on this?
Well, I don't think we're going to get through 30 or 40 years in just a 20, 30-minute video. It's not going to happen.
Okay.
But I thank you for being here today, and I thank you for coming to talk with me.
Thank you for asking me. Thank you for asking me.
I always enjoy getting together with you, whether it's taking selfies, finding a restaurant to go to grab a bite to eat.
Exactly.
And we've shared a lot of stories, and I'm sure there's a lot more to come.
It has been a good relationship. That's for sure.
I can tell you this, I really appreciate and value the time I had there at RE/MAX Fine Homes.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends that I made there.
Yeah.
A lot of those people have become like family to me. I'm looking forward to my time here at Realty One Group Music City.
Yes.
And
I love this office.
this is wonderful, and
Yeah.
I'm excited about it and everything, but I'm excited to continue to grow the friendships I've carried with me along the way.
Oh, yes.
So, and I'm excited to see what you do in the commercial arena there in Spring Hill.
Well, my first year has been great.
I've heard.
And my second year is starting off good, so, we'll see.
Watch out, Queen Cynthia's taking over the commercial now.
No. No.
Well, I think you're going to do very well there.
No, I'm just taking it nice and easy.
Well, yes, you're at a place now and everything where you are just basically doing what you need to do.
Yes.
And what you want to do. You're in that part of your career now where you can kind of sit back a little bit and say, okay, I'm only going to do what I want to do. I'm not going to spend...
Oh, my goodness. Do you know how nice that is?
I don't know. I'm not there yet. Now, I'll call you in 20 or 30 years when I might get there.
Oh, come on.
Oh, you'll still be here.
No, I won't. No.
Yeah, you'll be 120 driving around Springfield going, get out of my way.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's so funny.
Well, Cynthia, thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again, and I can't wait to do more.
That's wonderful.
Awesome. I hope you had as much fun watching that conversation as Cynthia and I had having the conversation. If you liked this video, please hit the like button. Also, please consider subscribing to this channel for future updates about the Nashville, Tennessee and surrounding area, and especially the real estate market in this area. If you have any questions about anything you heard or saw in this video, please feel free to reach out to me or Cynthia. Both of our contact information is available at the end of this video. As always, from my home to yours, have a wonderful day.